Welcome to Digitalk.
Lauri, perhaps we could kick off with you telling us what Monese is and what Monese does.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how many of you are Monese customers. We do have quite a lot of customers from Bulgaria, but we don't yet have a Bulgarian localized account. So most of our Bulgarian customers are actually either from the UK or from the Eurozone. And the problem we started to solve when we began this journey like 4 or 5 years ago was that people move around quite a lot, and not just for travel, but people move to new countries to study, to work, and everything travels pretty well. One thing that doesn't travel too well is your financial credibility as a customer for banks. So the moment you cross the country border, suddenly you become very undesirable for some reason. And it could be just from a simple complication of getting a bank account at all, to even, it can be impossible in some cases. But also, can you imagine if you want to move to a new country, you want to take out a loan or a car lease, and this is pretty much either impossible or very complicated. So we started solving that problem, first from the access point of view, with the product on the UK market. And by now, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we reached 1 million signups, so it was like a big thing for us. And basically, yeah, so we offer mobile banking services for the UK market and in the Eurozone, and these are our main 2 products for now.
What I want to ask you about a little bit like broader picture. In all those conferences, we hear about neobanks, digital banks, fintech innovation. What's your view? Like, is it maybe we are in a bubble, like the fintech startups talking to each other, and traditional banks they just don't notice and not really influenced by that at all? What's your thinking?
We are definitely in a bubble ourselves, of course, like everybody is, surrounded by their peers and industry people. So they sometimes can be difficult to see outside. But I can tell you for sure that all of the big banks have taken notice, and they don't necessarily lose customers to each other. They lose customers to us. And, well, I mean, us as Monese, but of course also other players, other new players. So they've definitely taken notice. But of course, there is a broader kind of unbundling of banking going on as well. It's not just us doing it. It's this kind of era of big universal banking behemoths is kind of becoming to be over as well in the next decade probably.
So yeah, this autumn, I understand that all traditional banks should open up their account data as part of the open banking to any to other innovators. And we're already seeing, at least we as investors see on our tables, quite a lot of new ideas how to capitalize that with the new features, values, and that. So what's your view as like how Monese is looking at that? Do you see it's going to explode in services? Do you think it's going to be a kind of each app for specific task, or you see it's more kind of aggregators? Or who's gonna win? What's the killer feature? What's the killer application?
Yeah, that's a very good topic. Everybody is looking for the killer feature, of course, the startups and the investors as well. So for those of you who maybe not aware, open banking is a concept where all the banks in Europe would have to open up your account data if you as a customer require, ask them to do authorize that, and then these kind of account aggregator services can then pull your data and show them in a different context, basically. And of course, there's going to be probably a number of companies going to start out and going to try different things. We at Monese are thinking about it from the perspective that you definitely don't have to build everything yourself, and you can use the best services on the market and integrate into one user experience. So if you come to our development center in Tallinn, there is a writing on the wall in the engineering side which says, an integration a day keeps the doctor away. So we are all about integrating different services into one customer experience.
But then at the end, if you are integrating all the services and they are kind of hidden behind you, then you will be the one owning the customer relationship, right?
We hope so, yes. Because
how then you will position yourself against incumbents who already own a lot of users and customers like Facebook, Google, because they already have those customers. They can also be the integrator, aggregator. What's your view on that?
Well, I think specifically with Facebook, I don't know how many of you would like to share your financial data with Facebook, given their interesting track record with keeping that data to themselves and secret. So I think they have a bit of an image problem there. But of course, definitely, that's one possibility that one of the not fintechs but tech fins maybe will actually own that space or some part of that space. So we just have to be better with our customer experience.
Well, and it's yet to see what it then leaves to traditional banks, right? And what's your view? We see quite a rapid change or a rapid introduction of new features inside neobanks apps and other kind of new functionalities there. But traditional banks it's like they don't care. Or what do you think? It's more the reason why they don't innovate, and especially don't innovate cross-border. Is it about regulatory aspect of thing, or is it more of a mindset? Why do you think they are not doing it?
Yeah, it's a very, very good question about. So the regulation is the same for everyone, actually, right? So when we started on the market, and then a couple of others as well. So using exact same regulation, we were able to offer the customers the ability to open a banking service in 2 minutes from their mobile. Now the regulation is the same for the banks, actually. So I don't think it's a regulatory issue. I think it's more of a mindset issue, and banks tend to be a little bit local in their view. So the moment you kind of cross borders, two things will happen. First of all, the country you go to, those banks don't necessarily view you as a desirable customer, and if you're with a very greedy traditional bank back home, then they will also slap certain fees and extra taxes on your account as well. So you're kind of between a rock and a hard place. But I think it's a mindset issue. It's not really a regulatory problem as much.
Then, thinking about, is there analogy I could think is was the mobile operator, right? Some years ago there was this huge charges or costs per minute as soon as you step 1 kilometer beyond the border. Do you think is there need for European Union to introduce and to force banks to be more transparent, or do you see the open banking will solve that?
I think it's moving in that direction, but maybe it's not bold enough, right? The PSD2 and open banking and all these concepts, but they're really, like, if you think of it, if you as a customer own your data, then how is it so that your bank account number is not yours? Your phone number is yours, right? So you can go to another operator and say, this is my phone number, I want to take it with me. But why can't you take your bank account number with you? What's wrong with that? Like, for me, that would be like a most normal thing, at least maybe 10 years into the future. And going with the same concept is, again, like, if you're a highly paid professional person, you've had a decent financial record, you go to another country, you want to take out a loan, you really can't. Why is that? What changed, right? You're still a very desirable person on the job market, you get a good salary, people are chasing after you, headhunters are calling you, and you go to another country and you try to take a simple car loan or something, and you're nobody, unless you've worked there for 3 or 4 years. So that's really weird. I think this should change. Will the industry change itself, or will it be more like driven by the regulation? I guess the regulation helps in these kind of things because there are 5,000 banks in Europe, right? So there's quite a lot. So getting them all to walk the same step is not so easy. They're not going to just come together and say, let us discuss how to do this. So they're going to need a bit of push. And I think it will happen, but probably will take a little bit longer than just the next 2 years.
Stepping back a little bit in history, so Monese was founded in Estonia, right? The land of unicorns, right?
The farm of unicorns.
Yeah. So, how much of that being established there or founded there helped to shape Monese vision and product and help with the success?
Actually, I think that has a lot to do with a small country. So Estonia is so small, we could fit the whole population of Estonia into half of Sofia, and you would still have some space left over. So everybody that starts up from that country, immediately, the world is their oyster, right? Nobody is going to solve a problem or build a startup for a very small market. So everybody starts up as minimum thinking Europe is the market, or the whole world is their market. So we did the same. So our founders are from Estonia. The original seed funding from you guys as well was from Estonia. But immediately, our first product headquarters, we immediately moved that to UK, to London, where the problem we wanted to solve was also the strongest there, and there was enough of market space. So I think that really helps coming from a small place that you don't really try to solve locally. And as you mentioned, the land of the unicorns is a bit of a cliche, but it's true. We have 4 unicorns so far and 2 in the making. I really hope that we'll be, of course, one of those 2. And it was part luck, right? We had this small thing called Skype, and when they were sold, a lot of people got a bit of money, which is one thing, but of course the bigger thing is they got experience. Because money is not really the scarce resource anymore. There is abundance of money. There's so many investors and VCs here chasing after the next deal to put into the deal pipeline. So money is not the problem. The problem is people who have enough experience, skill, and imagination that actually we could change the world. And it doesn't mean that you need a $100 million seed round and you have to be in the Silicon Valley. It's not true, right? So what I would actually encourage people in the Bulgarian and Southeastern Europe ecosystems to do is maybe come and work in Estonia for a bit. You know, get this experience from a rocket ship startup, come back here, and then use those skills and use this experience and use that network. So in an act of shameless self-promotion, we have 30 job openings right now in Tallinn, so please talk to me. I will be your personal tour guide.
And I understand the current team in Monese is also very international, both in Estonia and in London, both offices.
That is definitely another aspect of it. So if you want to build a product for a wider audience and your own team is very homogeneous, like let's say 20-something white males, right? So maybe that's not the best option. Maybe you want to bring diversity into the team. If you walk through the offices of Monese, what you would see is like you think you like basically come to a United Nations gathering. There's everybody from everywhere. I used to have a team in Tallinn which was 45 people. Out of those 45, 5 people were from Estonia and 3 were national Estonians. So everybody else was from all around the place. So it really, this diversity helps, and it's not just male, female, but also people from different parts of the world really do bring a different perspective to your product development and also the way you sort for things. So I think it's really, really important to really put together a diverse team. It makes some things harder, but the products you will develop will be so much, they will travel better, basically.